Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another movie discussion. Guys, this is basically making the rounds right now. I'm doing this as soon as I basically heard about it, and I had to pull in Kihokai to basically talk about this stuff with me because honestly, this is something that's a little shocking to me. If you guys have seen all of the Fast and Furious franchise, if you've seen even just the last movie, I have to say that coming out of Fast and Furious 8 or, Fate of the Furious or whatever you really want to call it, there was a lot of background noise and talk outside of the set and all that other stuff that Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson were basically fighting about who was basically the star, the heart of this franchise, who was going to kind of propel this into the future above and beyond and everything like that. And I kind of went into that movie expecting something, as these two guys are going to be at each other's throats and they're just going to be at the top of their game and, all that other stuff. But as I walked out of that movie, I really felt, and I might be alone on this, but I really felt that Michelle Rodriguez killed that film in terms of her character, the dynamic that she put out there, just her, the stuff that she went through in general, knowing that her relationship with Dom and everyone else in the gang, and her kind of keeping everyone being the matriarch of this, paternal family that we have for Dom and everything that we've grown this entire franchise. And personally, although Michelle Rodriguez's whole concept, one of the most typecasted people outside of Sean Bean in all of movies, is someone that basically comes in and dies in almost every franchise. They did it in the 4th film. They brought her back in the 6th, and I'm really glad that she's back in this franchise, because after that film, I personally thought that she was going to be the person, after the tragic death of Paul Walker, who was going to take this franchise and continue to be the heart. And outside of all the action stuff, all the male-centric stuff, she was going to be the person to lead it into the future. And now, what she just recently posted a couple hours ago, half a day ago, or however, whenever this came up, whenever I became aware of it, is she is thinking about leaving the Fast and Furious franchise. She posted on Instagram, and I quote, Fate 8 is out digitally today. I hope they decide to show some love to the women of the franchise in the next one, or I might just have to say goodbye to the loved franchise. It's been a good ride. I'm grateful for the opportunity the fans in the studio provided over the years. One love, and then just a ton of emojis. And it's gotten a lot of traction. Obviously, a lot of outlets are talking about this right now, and I have to say, I'm really, really shocked, and I want to get your opinion on this, Kihokai. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of ranting right now, but I just wanted to get this out there. Not that this is basically a Paul Walker video, but when Paul Walker died, I didn't necessarily think that I cared that much. At least not until that moment. I feel like I didn't care that much, and I feel like a lot of people might be in my shoes, where the Fast and Furious franchise was just something that was more of a bargain bin type of franchise that was out there and was semi-enjoyable popcorn flick. But when it actually happened, you realize just how much of an impact it had on your life and everything that you kind of were doing when you were growing up. And losing someone like that, who was arguably the original main character of this franchise. Yeah. And you wonder,
he's the star of the show. You could say it. He's the star of the show.
Push on. And then Michelle Rodriguez, in my opinion, like I said, comes up in that film, and although that film plays out like you're missing something, Paul Walker is still sorely missed in that film, but she walks up and says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play this character like I've never done it before, and you're going to feel for everything that happens to her in that film. I just felt like they could continue this as long as she's here, and if she leaves, this is just another blow that this franchise has, and I don't think they realize, if she is saying what she's saying here, that they definitely have someone here who can continue the franchise, and they're obviously not giving her as much credit or recognition as she deserves. So I know that was a long rant, but what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, you kind of have the right to rant. I mean, we just figured it out like a little bit ago, and Still getting the anger off the top, I understand. But no, personally, with Fast and the Furious, I want to say close to double digits when it first came out. I can't think about when it actually the first for real movie came out, but I was a kid or a young child, and that movie and the show Inertial D, if you've ever seen that, it's an anime about drifting. Those two shows were kind of what got me into cars. I was never really into it like the other kids, like with Hot Wheels and stuff. I had Hot Wheels, but I didn't care about what they were, blah, blah, blah. But those two were the major car things in my life that I really enjoyed watching. And again, not a Paul Walker video, but sadly with his demise, I felt kind of the opposite way. I thought that the franchise was going to be done. I didn't think that they were going to try to bring the side characters up to the forefront and actually try to produce a viable series based off of side characters' opinions and side characters' actions. But with Michelle Rodriguez not being in a few of the movies and then her coming back, it definitely set a great tone for the franchise that I didn't realize was going to happen until it did. When she was gone, I really didn't notice a major chemistry lost. It was just kind of like, okay, there's just a layer that's not there, but it's not anything that I'm kind of noticing because I'm worried about what Paul Walker's doing. But bringing her back and bringing the original family, quote-unquote, back and having that be the center theme, and especially once his passing happened, that trying to be the center theme, I feel like is what actually is able to perpetuate the series on forward. And her leaving it has to be the death of it, because it's going to turn into the Vin Diesel show, just him by himself. That's all it's going to be, and it's going to be about challengers. That's going to be no imports, no nothing, just challengers.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually really interesting.
Charger. I said Challenger. Charger.
It's really interesting that you bring that up, because the thing they've been talking about, and they're actually moving forward with the whole Shaw Hobbs spinoff, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and also Jason Statham's character, two characters who are arguably another, at the forefront of actually being probably the most enjoyable part of the movies as of late, with the 7th and 8th film together. So if they put those people in their own kind of universe or outside of the main universe of the stories, let alone whether they actually show up in 9 or 10, then you have to wonder, what's going to be the main driving force of the last movie if Letty leaves, if Michelle Rodriguez leaves, or God forbid they kill her off again in the series. Let's hope not. Knock on wood for that. She is an interesting person in this series, an interesting force, something that helps drive and keep Dom at least a little bit grounded when it comes to everything that happens within it. So personally, yeah, right. I think you're right. If you get rid of her, if you have Shaw and Hobbs doing their own thing in their own spin-off movie, then you have just this kind of ragtag team of people who were never really important outside of the original film, and Dom doing their own things. Everyone else is just kind of there and has been there.
They already wanted to give up the life of crime twice at this point, and that was with Paul Walker still alive and kind of coaxing them into agreeing that that's all what they all wanted to do that. But what are they going to do for another movie if she leaves? Oh, one final heist where we get $1 million and then you guys blow it at the casino. Somebody buys a car that there's only 4 of, and Dom wastes it all on something else, and now we got to do another heist. It's just going to turn into Ocean's movies. And sadly to say, I only enjoyed the first 2 and did need to see a third Ocean's movie. So what's the point of them just pumping out these heist movies? I mean, okay, what's the point? They're going to make money. That's what the point is. But for an actual story to continue on, what's the point of just putting out these one-shot heist movies that aren't really going to connect probably that well to each other in the future if you keep getting rid of these main characters and they keep having arguments offset?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've always seen is they have this underground, they have this underlying theme of just kind of recreating themselves every couple movies. So, with the last 2 films, they have kind of stepped away from the heist thing and done this more espionage situation. I don't know whether or not they're going to continue that for the last part of the trilogy or something like that when they kind of send this film off. But at the same time, you know, even if she does step away for the last film, or even the second to last film, and just like the last two in general, to me it just doesn't feel like it's going to. It just, yeah, like you said, it just will not be the same. This film series has already given up so much and taking so much of a beating when it comes to everything that we've seen thus far, that it would just hurt that much more and be that much more effective at, you know, kind of taking audience members away from this series that they've just, for whatever reason, you know, be it Paul Walker's passing, but not even that. It was really kind of the fifth film in general that kind of brought this whole Avengers style. Everything was connected. Everyone from every film was there, and everyone was kind of this big family-centric, multicultural, you know, heist film that they made. Just got everyone's attention. Everyone really liked the film. I can completely understand that. But from that film onward, if she leaves, you lose that heart. You lose the binding that held it all together with that relationship between Letty and Dom. And I just definitely think that, you know, despite everything that this series has basically lived through, with at the beginning, you know, with Vin Diesel basically saying, I'm too big of a star for this franchise anymore, I'm going to do my own thing. And then Paul Walker having to headline the sequel that was a little bit weirder and just more so focused on the car racing than the you know, point blank drama that they basically ripped off. And then completely out of nowhere third film that basically killed the franchise until everyone decides to come back. And like I said,
enjoyed that one.
No,
I enjoyed that one a lot.
No, the fourth one sucks.
Wait, no, you said third.
Oh no, the third one's really awesome. No,
yeah, I was about to say, no, I love Tokyo Drift. Okay, yeah, 4 sucks. Okay, well, I'll agree with you. If you did say 4, I heard third, and I just had to put out the fact that I like Tokyo Drift. Okay, that's fine.
I like Tokyo Drift too. You know, on an aside, the thing I really like about Tokyo Drift, the best part about Tokyo Drift is that Fast and Furious 7 or Furious 7 re-showed the ending of Tokyo Drift, and instead of what they really should have done was recreate the ending, so it wasn't so jarring to see both of those actors age literally 10 years
overnight.
Like within a few minutes, like within a few seconds actually. It was like young Vin Diesel and old Vin Diesel. Is like, oh my god, come on, like don't do that, like just reshoot it. Anyway, whatever, that's a complete aside. The point is the films have found such a loyal, loving fan base, even though they're wacky and everything else like that. I mean, even critics give these films love just because they are what they are, and everyone's kind of come to accept it. And I think, you know, the whole point of this video is you get rid of Letty, you lose that binding, because Dom and Letty's relationship, even though they did take her away, like you said, they brought her back in a really interesting way. And once Paul Walker died, they decided to let this be the glue that binds. And if it is broken up, then I don't necessarily see how the family that they've come to kind of possess over the last couple films is going to stay together.
They won't be able to replace her. And I just thought of this a few minutes ago. Whenever they had her die, quote unquote, and be gone, and he got that love interest in that police officer, the only reason I even cared about that relationship was because Letty came back, and I felt bad that this woman got dragged into this like relationship that is now going to be over. That was the only reason I cared about that female character that came up. Other than that, I did not care that Vin Diesel had a love interest again. That did not that did nothing for me. So if they take Letty away and they're just gonna replace her with some other girl, I'm not gonna care. like it's what she meant. Like exactly what we've been talking this whole video. It's what she meant, not what the female that is with Dom means. Mm-hmm.
And I really think that that's just the thing. I guess the main point here, and we'll end it. I really want to hear what your guys, you know, everyone listening to this, what are y'all's opinions in the comment section below? But I think the main point here is she leaves, this franchise doesn't have anything. Not to say that it can't find another situation or another character to lean on, but as you and I have said, like, you know, I don't necessarily think that that person has ever been, as much as he really wants to think it is, it's never been Vin Diesel. He's always just the side character. He's more of the mascot
They're all side characters.
Yeah. He's more of the mascot than he is like the person that we hinge to. He's the person who waves the flags and makes the franchise flashy, but not necessarily this person we go to see in their character development and all this other stuff, as much as they want to show that. And then you have also the spin-offs that they're doing that's going to distract or at least kind of dilute any impact that Shaw's character is going to have in the upcoming film. So I definitely think that she needs to stay. I really hope that whatever she has in mind or whatever situation is between her and the producers of the film can be worked out. And whether it's, she doesn't say, but whether it's money or whether it's just overall screen time or something else, like I'm sure they'll figure out a way to make it.
I have a good feeling it's a mixture of the both, especially because she's... When I say later, I don't mean it in any offensive way, but she's later in her career. I assume that she wants more screen time for the amount of money that she makes per film.
Plus,
I mean, making millions is great, but view is great too.
With how successful this franchise is, I can just only imagine that it falls in line with both, although I don't necessarily know. And she might be trying to stand up for her other female co-stars as well. And
that makes sense as well. I didn't think about that.
So we cannot be overly sure. She has not explained this, and we don't necessarily know where this is going to go from here. But if I was a betting man, I would really say that she is not going to be leaving the franchise. This is way too much of a valuable property for Universal not to give in to whatever little demands that she has.
They make more than enough money to give her what she wants.
Yeah, to give her what she wants, or I just personally think, and she doesn't need to be standing up for herself or just her immediate co-stars, but this film also objectifies women. I mean, it's just kind of based itself on that. Maybe she's standing up for those women too. Who really knows? But I'm really very kind of shocked by this. I never understood. I never really thought, if you'd asked me a decade ago whether I would be like genuinely shocked on like breaking Fast and Furious news, I would have told you were crazy.
If you would have told me an hour ago, I would have told you the same exact thing.
Anyway, guys, exactly. So, guys, please make sure to go check out Kihokai. He makes some really awesome Dragon Ball content.
Dragon Ball.
He was really gracious to actually join me on this, so we thank him for that. Anyway,
I love the Fast and the Furious.
Anyway, guys, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video out to all your friends, especially if you're saddened by this as much as we are, because genuinely, this is truly shocking, and I don't know why, but it just really is. Anyway, guys. We will talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.